Hola a todo el mundo, bienvenido a mi canal. Yo me llamo Sirey. Soy una abogada afro-latina licenciada practicando las leyes criminales, pero como todos ustedes, a mí me fascina cuando estamos hablando de casos de crímenes reales. En este video vamos a hablar del caso de Donna Adelson. Si quieren más video en español, nada más dime allá abajo. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Desiree. I'm a licensed and practicing Afro-Latino criminal attorney who, much like the rest of you, has a severe fascination with true crime cases. Listen. Today, we're going to discuss a case that we've quite frankly already discussed on this channel. This is a multiple defendant case, and back when I discussed it, like way back when, it's probably the first video, if not one of the first videos I've ever discussed on this channel. As you can imagine, since I'm still dealing with audio difficulties, the audio back there was terrible, and I was actually really blurry. So instead of making you guys go back and watch it, we're going to discuss it all fresh right now. This is the case of diabolical dentists. Really felt as if their money, power, and prestige would let them get away with absolutely everything. This is the case of Donna Sue Adelson. Donna Sue Adelson was born in February of 1950, which makes her 75 years of age as of today. Donna's husband, Harvey J. Adelson, was born in 1944, which makes him about 81 years old. Donna and Harvey have 3 children, their firstborn son named Robert, their secondborn son named Charlie, and the youngest of the 3, a daughter by the name of Wendi. If it makes a difference to you, kind of like it does to me, the difference between the 3 kids is actually about 3 years. So Robert is older than Charlie by 3 years. Charlie is older than Wendi by 3 years. And Wendi is younger than the oldest Robert by about 6 years. According to her children, Donna was really into appearances, so she wanted each of her children to get into a profession that would make the family proud. As such, Robert became an ENT, or an ear, nose, and throat doctor. Charlie became a periodontist, and Wendi was kind of slumming it up like me, and she went to law school and became a lawyer. In addition to being Donna's loving husband for more than, I think, 5 decades, Harvey was a dentist, and together, he and their son Charlie ran a dentistry practice entitled the Adelson Institute.
What I enjoy most about our practice is restoring a person's smile. That often changes their personality and gives them a more positive outlook on life. Our practice uses the most modern dental technology, from rotary endodontics, computer-generated ceramic restorations, digital radiographs, intraoral photography, and of course, we use nitrous oxide and oral sedation for the highest level of patient comfort and relaxation.
According to their children, Donna really had to have her hands in a little bit of everything. And as such, she helped the family manage the Adelson Institute. According to their eldest son, Robert, Donna was so controlling that she even had to have her hands in who all 3 of the children would date and eventually marry. That being the case, it should come as absolutely no surprise to any of you that Donna actually created multiple dating profiles on multiple dating apps for her daughter, Wendi. She would pick out eligible suitors, send them to Wendi, and expect, I don't know, magic to spark. One of those such apps that Donna kind of had a hand in helping Wendi either create or was created for Wendi or what have you was an app called JDate. Donna helped Wendi create the app in 2004, and in that same year, Wendi would meet the man who would become her first husband, Dan Markel. Dan and Wendi were both Jewish, and at first everything seemed like it was going wonderfully. Both of them were lawyers. They shared the same religious beliefs, and they both wanted serious long-term commitments. So what could possibly go wrong? The pair got married in 2006, merely 2 years after initially meeting, and that marriage produced 2 sons, but neither of the sons has been publicly named, because at the time that all of this occurred, they were still minors. In 2012, despite the fact that everything kind of seemed like it was going well, and merely 6 years after marrying, Wendi informed Dan that she wanted a divorce. Although initially distraught, Dan picked himself right back up, decided there wasn't much that he could do with his wife wanting a divorce, and the pair finalized their divorce in 2013. Divorce is never fun, and child custody battles are never fun. But can you imagine that process with 2 lawyers involved? Can you imagine how contentious, how litigious, how spiteful, hateful, and just all around nasty that process could become? Well, yeah, that's how this process was, but literally times 10. Dan and Wendi were literally spitting venom at each other, especially when it came to the child custody battle. Whenever one party would file a motion, the other would file a really contentious response, and it kind of went back and forth the entire time until Dan was in one of her such motions. Wendi asked the court to relocate her children from Tallahassee, where she had been living with Dan to further his career, to Miami, where her and her family are from. In that motion, Wendi confessed that she wanted to relocate to be closer to her family, her dad, Harvey, her mom, Donna, and her brother, Charlie. Dan's career was based out of Tallahassee, so he vehemently opposed the relocation of his children. In case you guys are unaware, and I looked this up specifically for this story, but Tallahassee is about a 7-hour drive from Miami. After Dan filed his motion in opposition of the relocation, the court actually ruled in his favor and denied Wendi's motion for relocation with prejudice. We've talked about this term on this channel multiple times before, but if you're new here and you're just finding me, first, welcome, and second, let me explain what that means to you. With prejudice merely means that that's the final order of the court. It cannot be re-raised. You cannot challenge it. It just is what it is. So the court said to Wendi, you are not moving these boys, period. After the court's ruling, Donna made a rather interesting proposition to Wendi on behalf of herself, her son Charlie, and their father Harvey. Donna propositioned that the family should bribe Dan in the amount of $1 million to allow the relocation to occur. According to Wendi's testimony, that bribe never came to fruition, but it's still really important to note, not to go through the pair's entire history of motions that they were filing as part of their custody battle, but I will note one additional one. Dan filed a motion seeking an injunction to prevent Donna from spending parenting time, or I guess grandparenting time, with their sons, because he said that Donna was constantly bad-mouthing him to his own children. Unfortunately, that motion would remain pending at the time of Dan's murder. On July 18th of 2014, Dan was gunned down in his own driveway. After hearing all the commotion and seeing a lightly colored 2008 Toyota Prius fleeing from the scene, Dan's neighbor called 911.
911, what's the address for your emergency case then? Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
We heard him looked in, the garage door was up, and I thought the gentleman was backing out, and I went back to my house, but he never backed out, and I came back over, and his driver's side window is shattered, and he's battered and can't answer. He's inside. I don't know if somebody tried to shoot him or if he shot himself or what. I don't know. He didn't send an ambulance in a hurry. An EMT. He's still alive. He's moving.
Okay, what's going on with him?
I don't know. The driver's side window is all bashed in, and he's got blood all over his head. He's not responding to me. I think you need to hurry.
Yeah, I'm going to get him on the way to you. I just want to ask you a few questions, okay?
Who on earth would want to do this to Dan Markel? Dan was an esteemed law professor. He was a lawyer by trade. He had multiple publications. He was an author. He was a brilliant mind. Who on earth would want to do this? Let me tell you what prosecutors allege, because Donna has yet to be convicted, happened. There are literally so many players here, so I'm going to break this down as efficiently as I can. So let's go back to the Adelson children. Remember, Harvey and Donna have a son named Charlie. Got it? Charlie is really close to his mother, Donna. Donna and Wendi are also really close. And I guess by virtue, Wendi and Charlie are really close. So in the midst of this contention and this child custody dispute and everything that was going on, Wendi would oftentimes confide in her mother about her frustrations. Her mother would then in turn tell Charlie. And Charlie decided that he was going to do something about this. Charlie is literally the fine shit that's walking around. He's tea. He's a masterpiece. He's chef's kiss. He's just sprinkle and bedazzle. He's everything. He's fine. Okay? Can't y'all tell? And because of that, Charlie had a multitude of different girlfriends. One such girlfriend is going to play a very key role in this story, and it's a woman by the name of Katherine Magbanua. Charlie and Katherine originally met because she was one of his patients at the Adelson Institute. Just because it's relevant to this story, I will note that Katherine is a single mother, and she does have 2 children, and those 2 minor children were fathered by another person who's very important to this story, and his name is Sigfredo Garcia. Sigfredo had a nickname. Everyone called him Tuto, and he had a good friend who was named Luis Rivera, and everyone called Luis Tato. So Tuto and Tato were enlisted as part of this whole devious scheme to get rid of Dan Markel forever. Wait! Oh my gosh, I almost forgot to tell you guys. And because it's really important to this story, Luis Rivera was a member of the Latin Kings. Just because I want to make sure that the focus of this video is Donna's first week of trial, let me go ahead and summarize all of law enforcement's findings, and then we'll go forward. In essence, law enforcement found that Donna and Charlie Adelson enlisted the assistance of Katherine Magbanua to get her baby daddy Sigfredo Garcia and his friend Luis Rivera to kill Dan Markel. But what on earth do they get out of this? Like, why would they just want to kill some random person? Like, what is the benefit to them? According to all witnesses, the benefit to them was the fact that Charlie Adelson was going to pay them, the 3 of them, a total of $100,000. It's really important to note that Tato and Tuto never spoke with any of the Adelsons directly, ever. After their investigation, the very first arrest that was made in this case was of Sigfredo Garcia on May 25th of 2016. Katherine was arrested on October 1st of 2016, but I will also tell you guys that Luis wasn't arrested as part of this case. He was arrested and he was serving time, 12 years to be precise, on federal racketeering charges. As part of their plea negotiations in this case, the prosecution offered Katherine immunity in exchange for her cooperation and testimony against her co-conspirators. Katherine ultimately declined. But before we talk about my opinions of her declination of this very generous offer, let me explain immunity to you guys just a little bit further. There are 2 types of immunity that are commonly offered: transactional and use. Transactional is kind of like what it says, like its name implies. It's a transaction. You help me, and I will completely agree not to prosecute you. So in essence, transactional immunity is full immunity, complete immunity, just all of the immunity. And use immunity basically means I will agree not to use anything you say in the cooperation against these other people against you, should I choose to prosecute you. So obviously, transactional immunity is better because it's a full agreement not to be prosecuted at all, while use immunity means I could prosecute you if I change my mind about it. I'm just agreeing not to use any of your statements against you should I choose to prosecute you. Do you guys want to guess what type of immunity Katherine was offered and ultimately declined? Any guesses? She was offered transactional immunity.
Now, you were arrested and charged with the murder of Professor Markel on October 1, 2016, correct?
Yes, sir.
Almost immediately, the state talked to your lawyers and offered you full immunity, a get out of jail free card, right?
I don't know if that was immediately.
Pretty soon after you got arrested, you were offered to cooperate against Charlie Adelson and the other Adelsons, and you would get to go home to your kids, right?
Yes, sir.
And your lawyers told you about that offer.
Yes, sir, they did.
You also saw an interview on TV while you were in jail in which one of the prosecutors mentioned this immunity offer, right?
Yes, sir.
You have 2 kids who are your world, right?
Yes, sir.
If you took the state's deal, then you would have been let out of jail immediately, right? That's what your lawyers told you.
If I took their deal? Yes, sir.
But you didn't take the offer.
No, I didn't.
3 days after Katherine's arrest, and on October 4th of 2016, Luis pled guilty to second-degree murder in exchange for a 19-year concurrent sentence. Do you guys remember how I said just a little bit ago that Luis was already arrested on separate charges and he was doing 12 years on federal racketeering charges? So he's agreeing to do an additional 7, basically. So he pled guilty to second-degree murder and he's getting an additional 7 because he's already bound to do that 12. And the time is running concurrently. In exchange for this benevolent, generous, kind, just outstanding offer, Luis agreed to assist the prosecution in testimony, statements, what have you, and just completely cooperate against the prosecution of his co-defendants. Because Katherine declined her transactional, complete, full immunity offer, and Sigfredo likely wasn't offered a plea. And the reason I say that is because it's my understanding that he had a really long rap sheet, and it's also my understanding that Sigfredo was the one who actually pointed the gun, fired it, and killed Dan Markel. I'd be very surprised if the prosecution offered him anything to begin with. But all that to say, the pair, so Katherine and Sigfredo, went to trial together in October of 2019. I should also explain to you guys that it's not uncommon for 2 defendants to be tried jointly, specifically when their criminal conduct stems from the same transaction. On October 11th of 2019, the jurors convicted Sigfredo Garcia of all the charges that were against him: first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and solicitation. But what happened to Katherine exactly? Because she was being tried too. The jury hung as to all of her charges. Let me just go ahead and explain this to you because I'm not sure if we've talked about this before or not. As far as hung juries are concerned, if the prosecution chooses to retry Katherine, which they did in this case, double jeopardy does not attach. Because I commonly see that as a misconception. I think a lot of people think, well, you can't retry her because the jury made their decision. And the jury didn't make their decision. They actually said they couldn't make a decision. And so now the prosecution has an opportunity to retry her, should they choose. And like I said, here they did. Shortly before Katherine's retrial, and on April 21st of 2022, Charlie Adelson was arrested. Much like his co-conspirators, Charlie was charged with first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and solicitation of first-degree murder. Katherine's retrial began on May 16th of 2022, and merely 11 days later, on May 27th of 2022, she was convicted of all charges.
All right, the verdict appears to be in proper form. I will now read the verdict. In the case of the state of Florida versus Katherine D. Magbanua, case number 2016 CF3036 and 2018 CF497. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 1. A, the defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 2. A, the defendant is guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 3. A, the defendant is guilty of solicitation to commit first-degree murder. And it is signed and dated by the foreperson.
After Katherine went Charlie's trial commenced on October 23rd of 2023 and concluded on November 6th of 2023, when merely after 3 hours of deliberation, the jurors decided Charlie's fate.
Everyone but the foreperson can be seated. Has the jury reached a unanimous verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you please could hand the verdict form to the bailiff. The verdict form is in its proper order. Madam Clerk, please publish the verdict.
In the Circuit Court of the Second Judicial Circuit in and for Leon County, Florida, the State of Florida versus Charles Adelson, case number 2016 CF 3036B, verdict. Count 1. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 1 of the indictment, first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Count 2. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 2 of the indictment, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Count 3. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 3 of the indictment, solicitation to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of solicitation to commit first-degree murder. So say we all this 6th day of November, 2023.
Literally 1 week after Charlie's conviction, and on November 13th of 2023, police caught up to Donna and her husband Harvey at Miami International Airport, trying to board a one-way flight. Now, she claims she's innocent and that she has no involvement in any of this. But 1 week after her son was convicted, she's trying to flee the country? Now, to catch you guys all up, Sigfredo, Katherine, and Charlie are all doing life in prison without the possibility of parole. Donna was captured at the airport and dragged back to Florida where she belongs to be put on trial and face justice. And now, let's get into the first week of Donna's trial that actually is happening right now. So I'm being a little toyish, coquettish, whatever you want to call it, when I say that we're going to discuss the first week of Donna's trial, because even though it's technically true, the first week of Donna's trial began on Friday, August 22nd of 2025. So in essence, what I'm saying is the first week of her trial was only a day, but let's get into it nonetheless. On behalf of the prosecution, Sarah Dugan delivered her opening statement, and on behalf of Donna, Jackie Fulford delivered hers. I don't know if it matters to any of you guys, but Donna's defense attorney is a former judge, and now she's a defense attorney, and she's defending Donna in this trial.
A panel finds that Judge Jackie Fulford is incapable of performing her duties as a circuit court judge. Now, according to court documents, they're recommending she retire because of a permanent disability that they say seriously interferes with the performance of her job. Now, the judge has been on medical leave since April of this year to be treated for the disability. This does not appear to be related to a notice of formal charges filed against Fulford back in April. Those charges claim that she showed a pattern of misconduct, including telling court employees that they could not work for her if they voted for Charlie Creel.
After opening statements, the jurors heard from Jim Geiger, who was actually the neighbor who called police when he noticed that something was amiss with Dan Markell. After that, and after some additional witnesses, the prosecution called Dr. Anthony Clark, who opined on Dan's cause and manner of death. And then finally, after a few more additional witnesses who we shan't discuss, Luis Rivera testified as the prosecution's star witness, or at least in my opinion.
Sir, please introduce yourself and spell your name.
Luis Rivera, Luisrivera.
Mr. Rivera, where are you from?
I'm from Puerto Rico.
Okay, but were you living in Miami back in 2014?
Yes, ma'am.
How long did you live in Miami?
My whole life.
You were born in Puerto Rico, though?
Yeah.
Okay, but moved to Miami at what age?
2 years old.
Have you been convicted of a felony?
Yes, ma'am.
Including the murder that we're here about today?
Yes, ma'am.
It's 5 felonies, sound correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're currently incarcerated?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that for this case or this case and another case?
For the both. Well,
Both. So it's a federal sentence and this sentence.
State case.
What did you plead to in this case?
This case, guilty
Guilty to what?
to second-degree murder.
If you could speak up, Mr. Rivera, that'd be so.
Guilty to second-degree murder.
Thank you.
One more, Mr. Rivera.
What was your sentence on the second degree murder?
19 years.
Okay, and that was concurrent with your federal sentence, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what did you have to do in exchange for getting a 19-year sentence?
I had to cooperate.
What does cooperation mean to you?
Well, telling.
Telling on who?
My co-defenders, Garcia, Katie.
All right. Did anybody ever tell you what to say?
No, ma'am.
Has anybody ever told you anything other than to tell the truth?
No, excuse me, say it again?
Has anybody told you to say anything other than the truth?
No.
Has anybody promised you anything other than the sentence that you got in exchange for cooperation?
No, ma'am.
Did anybody ever tell you, oh, you have to testify about a specific person to get a deal?
No, ma'am, not at all.
Have you been offered anything on your federal sentence from doing this cooperation on this case?
No.
As part of your negotiation or your lawyer's negotiation of this case, did you give up what's called a proffer, a recorded proffer?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And even back then when you gave the proffer, did anybody tell you what you needed to say there?
No, ma'am.
Were you hired to participate in the murder of Dan Markell?
Yes, ma'am.
Who hired you to be involved in the murder?
Well, I got it from my friend, Tuto, Garcia.
Is that Sigfredo Garcia?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you know him?
Childhood friends.
So to cooperate and get this deal, you had to turn on one of your best friends.
Yes, ma'am.
Who enlisted Sigfredo Garcia to be a part of this murder?
Katie,
Who's Katie?
his wife.
Is that Katherine Magbanua?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know who enlisted her to be involved in this murder?
Not really.
Was it a murder for hire?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you know that somebody was paying Katie?
Yes, ma'am.
And Katie was the one that brought the money to you all, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was the purpose of this murder as you understood it?
That they wanted the kids.
Who wanted the kids?
Wendi.
Okay. And did you understand that you were killing the father of the kids so that Wendi could have the kids?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you previously referred to a dentist being involved?
Yes, ma'am.
Who was the dentist?
Charlie.
And how was he related?
Katie's boyfriend, IPs, whatever you want to call them.
All right, so Katie was the wife of Garcia, but also the girlfriend of the dentist?
Yeah.
Did you have any contact with the dentist ever?
No.
Did you have any contact with any member of the Adelson family?
No, ma'am.
Everything went through Katie, right?
Yes, ma'am.
What did the dentist if you know, have to do with the lady in Tallahassee who needed her kids?
I don't know nothing about them. I don't know nothing about that family.
I have seen Luis Rivera testify in a number of trials. I saw him testify in Katherine and Sigfredo's joint trial. I saw him testify in Katherine's retrial. I saw him testify in Charlie's trial. And here he is again today. And what I will say is that reading the comments on all the videos of all of his different testimony, I've been surprised at how they're overwhelmingly positive. I understand that Luis has a record and he is a self-professed gang member and he shouldn't have killed Dan Markel. Like, he did an atrocious thing. I think it is good that he's coming forward and he's testifying on behalf of the prosecution in all these cases. I think Luis is credible. I think he's doing a good job. And it was nice to see his testimony yet again, restating everything that he said 1,000,000 times prior. Okay, so I'm going to make it a mission to completely cover the entirety of this trial for you guys. I know I said we were going to cover the entire first week, but I mean, tee-hee-hee, we did. The whole first week was literally one day. I'm going to talk about the rest of the week, give you my opinions, and just talk about the trial as a whole. Go ahead and let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think of this crazy story? Do you have any thoughts on Donna Adelson? Is she guilty? Is she not? Just let me know all of your thoughts down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Until next time, y'all take care.